Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Trailer Hitch. I am Kevin.
I'm James.
And we're here to talk to you about trailers. This is our 27th episode. Now, here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. Normally in these intros, we try and relate the episode number to something else. Oh, 26 letters in the alphabet, yada, yada. So 27, James and I were spitballing earlier. It's like 27 Club. Oh, that's where all these rock and blues musicians died at, like what age they died at.
Right, that's what you went with.
Yeah, and it's like, you know what? A lot of these center on death. That's too morbid. We were thinking 27 dresses. But
that was my idea.
That was yours. And you know what? Good. I liked it.
Thank you.
But here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. We're done. We are absolutely done trying to contrive some way that a number is significant. No, we will not do this anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, starting now, Trailer Hitch is just going to be Trailer Hitch.
Just Trailer Hitch, baby.
It doesn't have to be a letter in the alphabet. It doesn't have to be something involving death.
I love it.
We're just going to do us. Now that we're not doing anything involving death, James, do we have a common theme with these three trailers?
It's got to be death.
God damn it, you're right.
You can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
Turn the lights, grab a seat, pour yourselves some whiskey neat. It's time to judge the shit out of these future releases by the movie trailers. We're Trailer Hitch. This movie might totally suck, but the whiskey sure is going down fine. Yeah, we're Trailer Hitch.
Just one fuck of a bummer of a podcast, isn't it?
We'll try and lighten it up some
I mean,
way.
yeah, like we'll do our best, but at the same time,
we're
like,
only
we really got to start cherry picking these. But first, we'll tell you what those three trailers are. We got Little Evil, which is a Netflix film from the people who created Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
I believe so, yeah.
So it's their next foray into horror comedy. We have The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which is directed by someone whose name I'm going to butcher later when we intro the trailer.
When you have it in front of you.
When I have to try, I will butcher it. And the last one is Last Flying Flags.
Last Flying Flags.
Which is
Last Flags Flying.
Last Flags Flying.
Last Flag Flying, I think.
Listen,
Filleting
the flags are flying.
Fathers.
The big thing here to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is the new joint by Richard Linklater.
Which we are fans of.
We are fans of.
In general. You know what? Let's move on, because we're
should
not talking
move on.
about that.
So, our eagle-eared listeners know that this is the time in which we typically do hitchhikers.
Right.
Now, we've been skipping on them for the past couple of weeks, and here's the reason why, ladies and gentlemen. It's because earlier, and we're talking like 5 episodes ago?
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a hot minute, but James and I goofed. So Hitchhikers is a segment in which we take a set number of trailers, go through them rapid fire, give you our abridged thoughts, but we set a time limit for ourselves. Now, what happens if we break that time limit? Ladies and gentlemen, James and I have to see a movie that we don't want to see. So every trailer we rate as follows: need to see more, or never need to see. If we both give something a need to see, we're going to be like happy for a bit. Because,
absolutely.
Hey, consensus is cool. And then we go and we see that movie opening weekend in a theater, and then report back to you with a special trailer in the rear view episode in which we review the film, but the trailer again, and how did the trailer prepare us for the film, etc., etc. Now, if we go over time on Hitchhikers, James and I have to see a movie that we both gave a never need to see.
Correct. Which we did.
Yeah. We did. We remind ourselves every time we have to record and try to avoid doing it again. But we did it. And so typically what ends up happening, we throw a poll onto our Twitter page in which you, the listener, get to vote and pick which never need to see movie that we want to see. Now, the first time we did it, it was a tie.
That's right.
It was a tie between 50 Shades Darker and something else. I don't remember what it was because we ended up watching 50 Shades Darker. We ended up flipping a coin. So this time around, we were like, okay. So like that was a one-off goof, a goof upon a goof.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen again. And goddamn it, we had another tie.
Apparently, not enough of you are voting for our fucking awesome, exciting polls.
I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming you, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm blaming you. All of you.
I'm not blaming you.
You know
However,
who you are. You know who you are.
However, we're at it again. We have another tie. Now, this time, we have a tie between two, I'm sure, winners in Wish for Christmas, which is a Christian movie. Basically, the abridged version is it's about atheists being terrible people.
Sure.
And then we also have The Autopsy of Jane Doe, which, though has Brian Cox and Emile Hirsch, just seems sort of goofy.
Yeah.
You know, the trailer didn't really do that much for us.
No, it didn't. Yeah, it was kind of lackluster.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you can hear by the rattle of metal that I got a coin in front of me.
He's got a quarter.
James and I are going to flip this quarter right here, right now, and in this moment, you are going to hear live, well, it's live for us, for you. Anyway, you are going to hear what movie we are going to end up watching. Are you ready, James?
Well, I mean, we got to assign a movie to a certain
Well,
sign,
I want to
right?
make sure you're prepared for a signing, and then we'll go into
I'm prepared for a signing.
All right, great. All right, so we have heads, and typically you would have tails with a quarter, but for whatever reason, ladies and gentlemen, there's a goddamn peacock on the back of my quarter.
Hey, it's got a tail.
So we got heads, we got tails.
Yep.
Heads and peacocks, James. I will say peacocks is Wish for Christmas.
Okay.
For no other reason.
You know why?
Why?
Heads. It's a severed head, sort of. Autopsy.
Autopsy.
There you go.
Yeah, and then... with
And then
this-
by default,
by default...
Wish for Christmas is the peacock.
Hey, we don't need to assign a thematic label to
That's
this peacock.
right. Damn right.
We
you
can
go.
let the bird decide what it wants to be on its own. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Heads.
Heads.
All right. I'm sort of relieved. I'm not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen. So James and I are going to watch The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Hopefully, there's some severed George Washington heads in it. Because
Otherwise,
our
this
quarter
will feel like a fucking waste of time.
our quarter theme's going to be totally off.
Yeah,
we can't
absolutely.
have that.
No.
We'll get back to you. We'll let you know if it does.
Yes. So the twos of us, and potentially our bad movie correspondent Jenny, James's roommate,
My roommate,
will
yes.
join us for that episode. But until then, we got some more stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
We have trailers. But before we get to trailers, James, stop that trailer. It's a running away, because I got something to say.
That was the trailer breaking, handbrake.
So, Runaway Trailer is a segment in which we just sort of talk about whatever. Now, here's the big thing that I wanted to talk about, ladies and gentlemen, and that is something called MoviePass. James, do you know what MoviePass is?
Vaguely.
Okay, so here's the score. MoviePass is a service, so sort of akin to...
Like a Netflix?
Yeah, a Netflix or like a gym membership. You pay a certain amount of money per month, and you're able to go to any theater that's a participating MoviePass theater.
Okay.
And you can see one movie a day. You just pay one monthly fee, see a bunch of movies, and Bob's your uncle. Now, for the longest time, the rate for MoviePass per month was like $50. Just enough where it's like, that's a bit steep.
Right. Like if you're going every week, then
It's probably
then
worth
that'll be worth it for you. But
Right, but if you see a movie, say, like twice a month or something like that,
Right,
you're
yeah.
not getting your money's worth.
yeah.
So recently, about a week or so out from the recording of this podcast, MoviePass announced that they were dropping prices to $10 a month. You got to bear in mind, for us folk living in the greater Los Angeles area, it's typically, what, $15 if you're going to an ArcLight?
I think 15 is a good average.
15 is probably a good average. So
Unless you want to go at the break of dawn,
Yeah, for sure.
which
like
I
an
do.
8:30. Yeah,
and
you do
Kevin
that.
doesn't like coming with me.
It's only after a party when we're all hungover. We've been over it. But anyway, if you go to a movie, get 2/3 of the way through and go, this isn't for me, and then walk out, you effectively got your money's worth out of MoviePass per month.
Yeah.
But if you were to say go to a movie every goddamn day for a month, no, $10 a month is absurdly low.
Yeah.
Here's why I'm bringing it up on this podcast.
Sure.
So, our rating scale, need to see more, and never need to see, is all predicated under one question of would we go and see this in a theater? As in, would we pay full price to see it in a theater?
Okay.
Obviously, now, if I can just go to a movie willy goddamn nilly
Yeah.
with MoviePass, that sort of changes the discussion to some degree.
Sure.
And the question is, should it change the discussion to some degree? James, because you are my co-host, my cohort, and honestly, this was all kind of your idea. What do you think? Because I personally think that we should just keep the rating scale under the guise of we're paying $15, like the rough estimate of an LA movie ticket price to see a movie.
Yeah, I think we keep it the same. Specifically because whenever we review like a Netflix movie, something that you or I can just like
pop on
anytime I want. Like we didn't adjust our rating scale for films like that. So
True.
I don't see. Look, the $15 like price mark isn't really something that I always take into account anyway. Just the idea of paying for a movie ticket, even if it is $7, let's say, like in Wisconsin, how some theater, I don't know if they're $7 anymore, but maybe around
There's
$10,
like $5 Tuesdays.
Sure.
Stuff.
But like an average of $10 maybe in Wisconsin. It's just the idea of giving up money.
And I mean, I will admit that, like, to a degree, the price point does play a factor, though it's pretty minimal.
Yeah, minimal.
Because it is ultimately the idea of just, like, going and seeing it in a theater. And there are movies that I have said, I mean, I'll see that at a second-run theater for, $7 or whatever.
Yeah.
And go and do that. But at the same time, there are movies where it's like, I won't see it until it hits that point.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like in those instances, if I'm basing something off of a trailer, in my mind, that trailer, and by extension that movie for me, is a need to see more.
Yeah.
Like for you, I mean, we reviewed Logan Lucky, the trailer.
Yep.
The movie dropped. You were at a need to see more for it. Is that something that you'd be like, oh fuck, $7.50, sure. Versus,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Sure.
Is, like, there is, I think, a line to be drawn in the sand with, like, a price point.
Sure.
And I just wanted to make it clear for our viewers that, like, we are approaching it from the standpoint of paying full ticket price.
Yeah,
when we
full
go and see a
ticket
movie.
price, yeah.
Because otherwise, I mean, then the only deterrent is time. You know what I mean? Like, and at that point, like, I know I say I'm busy, but I mean, I probably have a couple of hours. I could probably see Flatliners if I really wanted
and
to.
being around other people.
Yeah, there's that.
Because, like, I mean, in the time of Netflix and all these other great streaming services, it's getting kind of harder for people to leave the comfort of their couch.
Absolutely,
So, yeah.
yes. All right, so that trailer, looks like the brakes have finally been applied. Everything is safe.
Excellent.
Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen.
Excellent. I'm glad the brakes are applied to yours, Kevin, but I'm still on a runaway
Wait, there's
trailer.
another one?
I'm still stuck on one.
Oh my God.
I know.
Let's try and stop it. Talk it
about
out, man.
Yeah, mine's even more important than yours, so just get ready, okay?
Okay.
There's going to be an Obi-Wan Kenobi Star Wars movie, everybody.
That is totally not fine.
Yep.
Go for it.
Yep.
What do you got to say about
Okay,
it?
so I just want to say real quick about it. It's something I'm really excited about.
Sure.
And a lot of people have been kind of excited about the idea of a standalone Obi-Wan Kenobi movie starring Ewan McGregor that takes place in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. Something like just like him in the desert.
Is it just going to be him aging for 2 hours?
Yeah, exactly. But I want to see how he ages that old in that short amount of time. I gotta
Smoking,
see. I want to
drinking, just living a hard life.
That's right, and watching some ungrateful brat, Luke Skywalker.
Sure.
Yeah. No, it's
They'll give you some gray hairs. Yeah.
It's something that I like since it was rumored like eons ago. I have been really excited about that idea because I love Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. And, like, I think it would be a really cool character study of just, like, this character in isolation on this desert planet with no one to talk to, essentially, and in hiding.
Yeah.
Like, that's not your bombastic, like, space adventure type of Star Wars film. That is something new. And I think people were really excited about that concept. A lot of people were. The second it gets announced, though, everyone starts complaining that, oh, Disney's too afraid to try, like, new things. They're too afraid to branch off from their main characters, from their sagas.
Sure.
And that's, like, a complaint that a lot of people are having. And, like, that bothers me because everyone wants to see this movie. Like, I can understand people getting a little irritated with a Han Solo film. It doesn't really, like, beg... It's like...
Here's my question to you.
Sure.
Here's my question to you. Do you think you would ever get at a point in which you feel like there was an oversaturation of Star Wars movies?
Absolutely. And that is another conversation, and we'll get into that. Maybe now, maybe later, but...
Okay.
Yes.
Because, that's immediately what pops into mind for me.
Yeah.
Is... Okay, we're going to get a Han Solo movie. Oh, shit, it's directed by the guys who did the Lego movie. And okay, they got fired.
Yeah.
So Ron Howard's going to do it. He seems like a nice guy, I guess. But, okay, Bradford Young is the cinematographer. He's fucking cool as shit. All right, I'm interested.
Sure.
But then, this comes hot off the heels of Rogue One, which we've, obviously expanded on in this podcast.
Yep.
You can listen back to an old episode of Trailer Hits if you want that opinion. But then going forward, now we're going to get an Obi-Wan movie. And effectively, the thing that I'm more concerned about isn't necessarily the content of the movie that they're announcing. Because, you saying that out loud, it's effectively going to be a survival story. It's one character alone who is going to spend an entire movie being like, I fucked it up with that kid. Who needs to then get to a point where he's like, I'm going to train a different kid.
Yeah.
And you know what? If I get killed for it, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because that's, basically where he was at with A New Hope.
You know what? You know what's gonna work for this kid? Giving him a lot of space.
Yeah.
By the time I need to really tap him into the game, he's gonna be like, "Who are you?"
Okay.
I think that's the way to go.
Okay, you're starting to get really good at this Force shit. I'm gonna put this helmet on that blinds you. All right, yeah. Okay, that seems to be going a bit better.
Yeah. See, I feel better.
I agree.
About this.
Yeah, that could be an interesting concept, and I think that could be an interesting direction for a standalone Star Wars movie.
Sure.
It's just now we haven't even finished the new trilogy.
Correct.
And we're going to be running 3 deep on extended universe movies, and especially when the new universe, quote unquote, is still going on. Okay, but at what point are we going to hit oversaturation?
Yeah. And I'm okay with. Let's get into it real quick.
Yeah.
I think one Star Wars film a year is okay.
Sure.
If they start, and I think it's inevitable that they eventually start doing what Marvel's doing and releasing 2, sometimes 3 films a year, and live-action television shows that they, really want you to care about, and maybe a second live-action television show. That, at that point, I'm just going to be like, you've lost the excitement factor.
Yeah.
Now. Even Avengers Infinity Wars, which is the culmination of all these fucking movies, I'm that's gonna be fun. I'm not foaming at the mouth excited for it though, like I was for the Avengers.
Sure.
The first Avenger movie.
Yeah,
or for
that's
Force
legit.
Awakens. Or now for the Last Jedi. So I think there is a point of oversaturation, and I really hope they don't hit it. Right now they're still set at one movie a year though.
Yeah.
My whole point is, though, my whole complaint is basically complaining about other people's complaints. So
Okay.
let me get back to that real quick.
Yeah, you can complain about other people.
Let me finish my complaint about other people's complaints here. It's just other people were complaining that they want a Star Wars standalone film where it's new characters, new plot, something completely different, set in a different part of the universe, not interacting with any main characters that we're familiar with or main plot points that we're familiar with. And some people will say, oh, that was Rogue One. There was all new characters in that. And it's yeah, but it was completely revolving around the Death Star.
Sure.
So that doesn't really count. Han Solo, completely revolving around Han Solo. And now this Obi-Wan movie. So a lot of people are complaining that Disney's afraid, they're afraid to branch out and do something different. And I just don't see it that way. I just think this is a movie that they kept their ear to the ground. People wanted this movie.
Yeah.
People were excited about this idea. Then they finally are okay, fine, let's do it. People are excited about this idea. They fucking turn on them, and they're they're afraid to just do something new, and
I mean, I think there might be some residual resentment for the Phil Lord and Chris Miller thing.
Sure.
Or it might be Chris Lord and Phil Miller. I'm not sure.
Lord
which
and Miller.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
those two. There might be some residual resentment
I think
there.
that's a fair point. But most of these articles that I'm reading don't mention that. It's I don't know. It's just kind of frustrating to see that, especially because we're all excited to see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi again.
Sure.
And my other counterpoint is, if we did finally get that, on a planet that we've never heard of before, with characters we've never heard of before, revolving around a plot that we've never heard of before, and maybe someone mentions the word Coruscant at some point, so you know it's in the Star Wars universe. If it's a good, successful movie, you really think Disney is going to allow it to be just a standalone film? They'll make a sequel.
Right.
It'll just end up being another sequel. And so it doesn't really end up being a standalone film anyway.
I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a cynical way to look at it.
I'm a cynical person.
Just from the
Have you met
standpoint of
me?
like, don't even bother making something original. They're just going to turn it into a franchise.
Yeah, it is. It's Disney. Are you kidding me? That's how they work. Is this making us money? Let's do more of that then.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, end of rants. That's all. I'm excited about the Obi-Wan movie. There you go.
Okay.
Cool.
Brakes have been applied.
Brakes have been applied.
All right.
We'll see how long they last.
Yeah, well, we'll hope that they last long enough for us to get into this first trailer.
Let's do
over
it,
here.
yeah.
So this first trailer is a little movie called Little Evil.
Everybody, please welcome Gary.
Well, my wife and I just recently got married. Hey, she's perfect. She's everything I ever wanted. And, you know, I'm having a little tiny bit of trouble bonding with my new stepson, Lucas. Whoa, look at that. You found some earthworms. Good talking to you, buddy. Never really looks me in the eye. Doesn't talk much, except when he yells at me to get out of his room. Using this weird little goat puppet thing. I get this sense that he's,
That he's evil incarnate.
yeah. Remind me again how Lucas was conceived?
You remember when I told you about that crazy time in my 20s where I joined that sort of like cult?
No, I don't think you told me about that.
All right, let me drop a little knowledge. This is Little Evil, directed by Eli Craig, also written by him. Once again, this is the gentleman who directed Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Did we confirm that?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
good.
That is confirmed.
Because I did spit that out. I wasn't 100% sure when I said
You
that.
bullshitted me perfectly.
Okay, great.
But yes, it
I
was
was correct.
definitely that dude.
Woo!
In this film stars Evangeline Lilly, Adam Scott, Bridget Everett, Tyler Labine, who was in
Tucker and Dale.
Tucker and Dale,
Yep.
and Donald Faison, Chris D'Elia, our random shadow. Because, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? Big name stars, they always get all the attention.
That's
And
right,
There's a
they're
lot of
attention
people in a
hogs.
movie. So we always like to give a little shout out to someone who doesn't get shouted out. So for us right now, we are going to call out Jerry Lee Tucker, who is police officer number 3. Hey, Jerry. Good job,
Jerry
man.
Lee Tucker. It's a good, solid name.
That's a great name.
Police number 3.
Police officer number 3.
I'm
Yes.
gonna go out on a limb and say he's gonna be the first casualty of this movie.
I sure hope not, because I like Jerry.
Hey man, having a death scene in a movie does a lot for people. Kevin Bacon died in a Friday the 13th movie.
Yeah.
Got,
Johnny Depp died in a
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, this could be Jerry.
Jerry's.
This could be Jerry's big break.
It could be Jerry's big break, but you know what?
Just getting thrown into a ceiling fan.
Let's just talk.
Sure.
Little Evil is a horror comedy about Adam Scott, who
Yep.
we first see in the trailer is sitting in some sort of like group therapy session, and he introduces himself and mentions that, hey, I just got married to the woman of my dreams, and you immediately see him running up to his wife in this picturesque house. And everything is great, and he just seems to have a little trouble bonding with his stepson, who is a complete fucking carbon copy of Damien from The Omen.
The Omen, yes.
Yeah. Throughout the film, you start to see Adam Scott become more and more disturbed and more cautious around his stepson, as his stepson starts to reveal he might be the fucking devil. And the film is him kind of coming to terms with that, and then all hell breaks loose from there.
Yeah.
And so just starting off, the biggest thing that I'll compliment about this trailer is I love the tone. The tone
right?
is so great because it's not like a bombastic, Damien kid does something weird and kooky and someone screams, holy fuck, and that's just supposed to be the punchline. There's some actual wit to it in that there's like almost a nonchalance to Adam Scott when he sees or encounters something like terrible. Just like flat out, the kid brings a bunch of earthworms to him and then just sulks away without saying a word. And he's like, okay, buddy, that was great. And it's like he's trying so desperately to connect to this stepson, who's just clearly the fucking devil.
He's the devil, yeah.
But he really loves his wife and wants to make an earnest effort to reach out to her stepson. And I did. That did a lot for me throughout this entire trailer.
I think the subtlety of people's reactions and stuff is what drove the humor home, I think, for me. And I mean, one of the biggest laughs for me was Evangeline Lilly looks up at the ceiling of just a pretty painting that her son did. It's a satanic, like, looking fucking mural that says, like, rapture on it or something. And she just like shakes her head and she's like, so creative. So creative. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that level.
Also, I think the subtlety helps you buy this as something that's actually happening, and you can watch it and like be sucked into it.
Yeah,
because if it's too goofy, if it's too doesn't take itself seriously, then you're having a good grand old time.
Right.
But are you really ever that like pulled in? Sometimes it's a hard balance to hit.
Yeah, and I think the balance that I'm enjoying with Little Evil right now is there is like that sort of subtlety where it is completely character driven, and the humor derives from the fact that Evangeline Lilly just really loves her son. And Adam Scott's just really trying to connect with this kid.
Exactly, yeah. And just the aspect of like meeting in a circle with all these other people that are maybe also stepdads.
Yeah.
Maybe like it's a stepdad support group.
Yeah.
Like that's a really cool aspect to it. Like
yeah.
It looks like it's not just...
And it's the fact that everyone outside of the situation in this trailer is like, that kid's the fucking devil. Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm enjoying about it, is there is a really nice contrast between that subtlety and then just outright, the kid lights a clown on fire, and as he's being carted away in a stretcher, the clown straight up is like, that kid did this to me. That kid is the devil, as he gets wheeled into an ambulance. And just like having that nice steady mix between the two is, I think, just absolute chocolate and peanut butter.
Yeah.
I think it goes together really well. I find it really effective. And I was laughing quite a bit throughout the trailer.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. And I think, and once it started hitting that part of the trailer where it's like a montage of stuff that's happening throughout the film, you know, that's very common in trailers. And sometimes it doesn't exactly land. It's just like, I'm just looking at a whole bunch of crap, right? But this, like, it was so grounded at the beginning to just to character interactions that once it finally hit that, like, montage of different shit happening, you were like, man, where does this movie go? Like, they're, like, in a car crash over here. They're, like, jumping over here. The montage really worked for this trailer. And I think the fact that it played it so close to the chest throughout the first part of the trailer, and then it went, like, balls to the wall for the montage was pretty effective, and I liked it.
Yeah, and honestly, like, out the gate, there really isn't too much that I'm feeling down about with this trailer.
No,
I mean,
don't think so.
I've enjoyed it all thoroughly. Like, it seems like it's a character-driven comedy, which is kind of like that's my treat.
Yeah.
I love those.
And it doesn't look like uproariously funny. Was that the right word?
Yeah.
Uproariously?
Yeah, that is the right word.
Is that a real word, Kevin? Uproariously?
Uproariously? Well, okay, now you got me questioning. No, that doesn't sound right at all.
Let's just move on. It's not one of those films
it's
where
not
it's like...
Rawr!
Yeah. Uproariously, yeah. It's not a comedy where it's going to be like barrels of laughs every scene, you know?
Sure.
It's smart, like you said. It's witty, and those type of films aren't like crazy laugh out loud hysterical movies. That's not the kind of movie it is, and that's fine. Like, that's hilarious too in its own right. So
what you thinking?
I'm thinking this is a need to see it for me, actually.
Is it really?
It is, yeah.
That's crazy.
What about you?
It's also a need to see for me. Look at that!
I just get so excited when we agree. Cheers, sir.
Isn't it fun when we agree?
It is fun. Yes, let's take a little victory sip.
All right, so this is coming out on Netflix at some point.
Oh, it is a Netflix movie.
It is a Netflix film. September 1st. So, holy shit, in like a week.
Yeah.
So, in about a week, we're going to watch Little Evil, and we'll report back to you guys with the trailer and the review segment. We're definitely excited for this. This looks like a really fun movie.
Yeah.
And we'll see if the film holds up to the trailer. So that was a really good way to start this off, right? Like, it was a good trailer to start us off with, because that trailer totally killed us.
Yes.
Almost as if we were a sacred deer.
Ooh.
What they heard, strike the match, playing loud, giving love to the world.
How did his father die?
A
surgeon never kills a patient. An anesthesiologist can kill a patient, but a surgeon never can.
Cause we got the fire.
Don't be scared, Mom.
Yeah, You'll see, you won't be able to move either. But you'll get used to it.
Where is she? What did you do to her?
Right, so we just played a little audio for the trailer for The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which means that you heard the singing backing track throughout all of it. Yes, it's now going to be burned into your head for the next 20 minutes, and
You're
there's not a
welcome,
fucking
Planet
thing you
Earth.
can do about it. Don't blame us, blame Yorgos Lanthimos, who is the writer-director of this film, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, was also the writer and director of Lobster,
The Lobster,
Dogtooth, both films that I really enjoyed. You have seen The Lobster and you thought...
I liked it.
Great. So, this is his new film, which is starring Nicole Kidman, Alicia Silverstone, Colin Farrell, Barry...
Alicia Silverstone is in this?
Is as Martin's mother.
She wasn't in the trailer, was she?
I don't think
didn't
so.
see her anyway. Okay,
Yeah.
anyway.
So that's honestly it for like the big name actors, which is good because then that gives us
Get
plenty
right-
of
yeah,
fucking
get right to the
people
shout
for the
out,
random
man.
shout outs. So Dory Lucas plays the conference guest. Hey,
Dory Lucas.
Dory.
Yeah.
You fucking killed it, man. Good for you.
Unless you're, the Antichrist, because your last name is Lucas. Because Lucas is the name of Adam Scott's stepson in Little
Oh my
Evil.
God, look
You
at
know
that
what?
poll.
You know what? It's not important.
No, that was fucking clever as shit. You had to explain it,
If
but
it was
once
their
you did,
if it was their first name, it would have been funnier. But
it's okay.
Moving on.
Okay, so speaking of explaining things, it is now high time to explain The Killing of a Sacred Deer. And so the first thing I will say, ladies and gentlemen, is I really, really enjoy the style and the tone of this trailer.
Okay.
I do find it very effective. That bird's eye view shot, of the person just like cold falling, like right near the beginning of the trailer. It's like,
in a hallway or something.
yeah,
right?
yeah. You know, how detached the camera is from the characters, as clearly something's wrong because they just have to crawl, like in order to maneuver around. Like clearly something terrible is happening. I will say that I'm immensely intrigued by it, and I'm intrigued by the imagery. As for explaining what's going on in this trailer, my one biggest issue with this trailer is I can't do that. I have no idea what the fuck is happening.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. I can make guesses, and I will make guesses.
We're going to make some guesses,
on the
ladies and
podcast,
gentlemen.
But I think when you compare it to a film like The Lobster, or a trailer like The Lobster, it was fucking crazy and was like,
it's strange, but at the same
You get
time,
it, though.
you get the general
they're
concept.
turning people into animals if they don't find love.
And
That's
like,
the concept.
Honestly, I've seen the Dogtooth trailer fairly recently, and that one is a little bit more obtuse, but I feel like with the Dogtooth trailer, you can get the gist of what that movie is about. And to be fair, having seen Dogtooth, it took me a while watching it to get the gist of what the movie was about. So I was very impressed that I was able to do it effectively versus The Killing of a Sacred Deer.
So, but yeah,
if I were to be like, who's the
this is more
antagonist?
vague than
Yeah,
Lobster.
definitely. Like, if you were to ask me who the antagonist is of the story, I don't know, honestly. Or the protagonist.
Can I start describing it?
All right, yeah, just go for it.
All right, so the trailer basically, like you said, it opens up with someone collapsing, more or less. Colin Farrell is a doctor, a surgeon, specifically. Yes. We find that information out later.
Yeah.
But he is a surgeon, and he has a lot of patients who I don't know, they might not be his patients, but he works in a ward, if say you will, with a lot of people who have lost the ability to walk, right?
Yes.
Right? Like, again, this is
So
vague.
this is where it gets vague, because he makes it a point to tell Nicole Kidman outside of what I presume is the hospital, a surgeon can't kill a patient. An anesthesiologist might be able to, but a surgeon can't, which seems to me implies that, and because there does seem to be some bent of revenge, like in the dialogue spoken by the teenage boy, it could be like he botches a surgery and kills.
Absolutely, because and that's why I love that part of the trailer. This guy, like Colin Farrell, is just like sitting on a bench, not making eye contact with Nicole Kidman, having a cigarette, basically trying to convince himself that no, surgeons don't kill people.
Yeah,
anesthesiologists can kill people, but it's never the surgeon's fault. He's clearly trying to convince himself because he knows he made a mistake somewhere.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really
cool.
That might have been the most focused, clear part of the trailer. And that is the only part of the trailer that makes me question who the antagonist is. Because without that part, I would have guessed Colin Farrell is the antagonist of this film, just based on the visuals we get and some of the interactions. It looks like, and I'm making a guess here, that he is intentionally making people... It appears like he's intentionally making people paraplegics.
Yeah.
And then that wrench got thrown in there when he was having that conversation with Nicole Kidman. I'm like, wait, no, he's really stricken with guilt here and trying to convince himself he didn't do something wrong, so maybe he's not the antagonist? I don't fucking know. It's really hard. Like, I don't know what this movie's about, but definitely a lot of paraplegics in it. Someone telling Nicole Kidman that, don't worry, you'll get used to it type of thing, which is pretty ominous.
Yeah.
But also vague.
But also vague, yeah. You see Nicole Kidman tailing Colin Farrell as she's driving.
Yeah.
Which, again, like, raises questions.
Could point to him being the antagonist.
Yeah, I mean, like, after a certain point, I stopped trying to guess what was going on after a couple of watches, because at this point, I don't know if I am supposed to know. It might just be an atmosphere trailer. And
I think it is. It definitely is. With that song, are you kidding me? I think when it comes to atmospheric trailers, all you need to do is look at the song, the music choice. And this one, which was very effective, though. I was very impressed with it. Like you said, it gets in your head. I don't even know what the words are, but I'm kind of just humming the melody in my head, really. Yeah. What was very impressive about the music is they commit to that song choice the entire trailer. Yeah. Until the very end. They never build on, like, a lot of films or trailers that have a person just singing a cappella as the beginning of a trailer. About midway through or 2/3 of the way through, they'll start backing it up with composer score.
Typically, you don't get away with this unless it's a children's choir doing it with a pop song. That's really the only other time in horror trailers where this flies.
Kevin, don't be a creep.
That really hurt my feelings, James. Now I want to be sedated.
Very
Cure for
good.
wellness.
Very
good.
Cure
Brought
for
it back.
Wellness. I liked
brought
it.
the fuck
Brought
back.
it back. But anyway, I liked that they didn't bring in an orchestra score to try and make it more dramatic.
Yeah,
it was just her singing and strange visuals, right? And vague story.
Yeah.
We're not entirely sure what this is about. So I thought it's definitely an atmospheric trailer. It was good. It was well done as an atmospheric trailer. Part of it is they had the title card that said this is the creator of The Lobster pretty early in the trailer, right?
Pretty quick, yeah.
I think it was early on. So I don't know if this is my own personal projections, but I was kind of waiting for some of the underlying humor in it, which there is none.
Nope.
At all. Because the Lobster trailer is really funny. It's weird and messed up, but it's funny. There's humor there. And the humor is what got me in the movie theater for that one.
Sure.
So this one is very different. Anyway, what do you have to say about it?
It is definitely a pretty stark shift from The Lobster to this.
Yeah.
And definitely relying on visuals and fucking how uncomfortable it can get. I don't know the full context for why, but the very end of the trailer where Colin Farrell is sitting in the restaurant and then he looks over and makes eye contact with the teenage boy and he smiles and then it just cuts to the title card, Killing of a Sacred Deer.
Yeah.
I thought was incredibly effective.
It was chilling.
Really unsettling.
Yeah.
I think it might have been more unsettling if I knew what was going on. Sure. But, I did. I really liked that. And so from a visual standpoint, from an atmospheric standpoint, I think that this works pretty well. I do think that there is something really engaging about this, but at least with the trailer for A Cure for Wellness,
I was gonna bring it back in too.
We could get the gist of what was going on in that trailer, even though it was an atmospheric trailer.
And I gave A Cure for Wellness Need to See More, which I know was bumming you out.
No, you gave it a never need to see. Because
Did I give it a never need to see?
Because you don't like seeing those kinds of movies in the theater.
Right. Right, okay.
Paying full price for those movies in the theater, which, as we established at the beginning of this fucking
That's
episode,
the whole
is the
deal.
point.
Yeah.
Yep.
A Cure for Wellness, you're right. It definitely had more of a sense of what this movie's about.
Right.
It was vague as hell.
Yeah.
But you could
piece it
You
together.
can make better guesses, I guess. Right. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like you could definitely get like a gist.
Yeah.
And with the killing of a sacred deer, I mean, it's at this point, it's just me throwing darts while blind, and the dartboard is on a cat. You know, like I can try, but like I'm probably gonna miss. So at that point, it does belie that it is an atmospheric trailer. But again, I mean, it would have been nice to have at least a little bit of context, like other than people can't move their legs.
Yeah.
And that seems to be an issue for a lot of people.
Sure, yeah.
And so overall, like, I would say give this trailer a watch, and I think hopefully we'll be able to agree, hey, the visual sense in this looks really striking. And I do definitely think for that director, Dogtooth definitely falls under the foreign movie crutch of everything's in a goddamn master for some reason. And I think Yorgos, or however you pronounce his name, really made leaps and bounds as a director with The Lobster.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, he was moving his camera around a lot. And, like, he would cut to just, like, a master shot for a minute or two. But I felt like it felt more earned in that.
Okay.
And I felt that, especially just with having a little variety, like, it helped. And so it gave more potency to when we were supposed to feel detached from the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I definitely think he's continuing on that track as a filmmaker, at least based off of this trailer. And I'm really excited about that. And I'd really like to see that. That said, I just have no goddamn idea what's going on in this thing.
Yeah.
And that's enough for me to downgrade it to a need to see more. Mm-hmm. I'm sure at some point we'll get a trailer number 2. And I'm sure that's going to have at least more of...
Maybe.
I mean, I hope so.
Who knows with...
And I mean, maybe the movie is just this completely impressionistic nightmare. Yeah. And that's just all it's supposed to be. It's just, no one can walk and you're fucking freaked out about it. And that's the movie. You know, because that filmmaker does have such interesting and bizarre concepts for movies... I really hope that there is actually, like, something to kind of back it up.
Absolutely, sure. Yeah.
How about you?
For me, okay, so you've heard the phrase... So what's the phrase, like, the sum is greater than... Or no, like, the parts are greater than the sum. Or the sum is greater than the parts. Or
the sum is
like
lesser than the total. Yeah,
something like that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm trying to say? Whereas, like, I liked a lot of parts of this trailer on their own. Put them together in a trailer, it just didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Like... on almost every level. And which is very weird because I can point to very specific things and be like, I like that, I like that, I like that. All together, I'm just like, I just wouldn't pay money to go see this in the movie theater. I wouldn't.
Sure.
It's a never need to see it for me. For
really?
That. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. I hope I can be proved wrong. Like,
sure.
There is, like, I can give it a never need to see it and still change my mind later.
Of course.
If I see another trailer. But just where this one sits right now, if I never got around to seeing another trailer, I wouldn't want to spend money to go to the movie theater with that trailer.
Sure.
So there you go.
Okay, nope, that's totally fair.
All right, good.
All right, so we got one last trailer, my man.
One last trailer?
It's flying right up there. Can you see it?
Can we grab it?
It looks like a flag.
Is it the last flying flag?
It's the last flag flying.
God damn it! We looked it up, Kevin.
We looked it up. Don't worry about it.
You sent him off to a godforsaken desert. Why? I'm taking Larry home.
With all due respect, sir, he deserves to lie at Arlington.
You're gonna take Doc back and try to make it fun.
You're cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Did you look at these faces? They've already been spited. I thought we were going to a funeral.
We are going to a funeral. Just looks like it's gonna take a little longer to get there.
What you gonna do? Strap the coffin to the roof of your car?
We could do that.
Oh, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up. It's Flag Day. Is it actually Flag Day? You don't know. No one knows anything about Flag Day.
It could be Flag Day.
Point is...
Could be Flag Day in Chile. Who knows?
Could be. This is Last Flag Flying. This is written co-written and directed by Richard Linklater. Daryl Punixan is co-writing this with Richard Linklater, being adapted from his own novel, apparently.
Oh, it's a novel.
Yeah.
Based off a novel, okay.
So this is starring Steve Carell, Bryan Cranston, and Lawrence Fishburne, and that's honestly like it in terms of name actors. Sure. But hey, there's plenty of people listed here, so we are going to look at Marquis Maresca, who is the train announcer. Hey, Marquis, I'll probably hear your voice soon. All right, so what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen? It is about, we start with Steve Carell picking up Bryan Cranston. Steve Carell effectively tells his friend, you know what I love about you? It's the fact that I said I needed your help with something, and without question, you just got into my car and you started riding with me.
Yeah.
So kind of right out the gate, we established the bond between the two characters, but they got to go get their buddy, who is played by Lawrence Fishburne, who is now a pastor. Specifically, Bryan Cranston remarks how much he's changed. He was apparently like this wild dog, and oh, they're all in the service together. Okay, interesting. So that's how these three guys know each other. Okay, so like they're doing a little road trip. This seems like fun. It's a Richard Linklater movie. Where are they going? And oh fuck, apparently Steve Carell's son died in service,
Right,
and
yeah.
they're going to go to Arlington for the funeral.
Right.
Once they get to Arlington National Cemetery, Steve Carell becomes resentful of the fact that his son got sent out to die in war and demands to take the body, take the casket, and bring him home so he can bury him at home. Starting the next leg of the trailer, which makes it seem like it's a road trip where these guys kind of come to terms with each other. Carell coming to terms with the fact that his son has died, them trying to help him get through that, while I'm sure he's probably going to try and help them get through their own shit.
I hope so. I hope Steve Carell has more to do than just focus with the son plot. Because it's like you said, that's a small cast. It's 3 people.
Yeah.
They can all have their own like inner arcs within themselves.
Definitely.
Too. Yeah. Because my first impression after this trailer, when it comes to the 3, Bryan Cranston and Lawrence Fishburne clearly are like their arc is attached to each other. Bryan Cranston bringing out the man that Lawrence Fishburne used to be, and something like that, and them having their thing, while Steve Carell's arc was more focused around his son. So I hope there's a lot more intermingling of arcs that go on there. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Sure.
It does look Richard Linklater-y in the sense that it seems like the vast majority of this movie is just going to be characters talking to each other.
Sure.
And them working through, their inner demons or bullshit or whatever you want to call it.
Their inner bullshit.
Just doing it through talking to each other. And the question is, do we feel engaged to the characters?
Sure.
And from the outside looking in, right now, my answer is, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really get a whole lot out of Steve Carell right now, obviously because he's grief-stricken. But the sense that I get right now is Bryan Cranston and Lawrence Fishburne are effectively like the angel and devil behind his shoulders, because, one of them's literally a pastor.
And one's just drinking and smoking the whole time.
Yeah, totally. Now, do they influence Steve Carell at all? Do they just let him be who he is and make his own decisions? If so, why are the other 2 guys there? And as of right now, I'm not sure why the other 2 characters are there yet. And that's not necessarily a knock against the movie. It's just something that the trailer didn't necessarily give me out the gate.
In terms of... I don't know if the characters will figure that out. But in terms of the theme of the movie, I think what it's kind of setting the table for is it's okay to still like have these strong bonds with your brothers in the military and disagree with things that the military in general has been doing.
That's a good point.
Those are 2 things that are not mutually exclusive. You can, I don't know if I said that phrase right, but you can be in the military and be proud and serve your country and like form these bonds with your brothers and still have an opinion about, no, the military shouldn't be fucking doing this. This is wrong. That's what's so great about America. You can do both of those things.
Yeah.
You can have both of those things. And I think a lot of people in this country get hung up on one or the other. And I think that this film kind of is setting the table for a bridging of the gap of those two things.
Yeah.
Like, you can have these three heroes, just are movie heroes, but maybe they're war heroes too. But they proudly serve their country and they love each other, but they also clearly have fucking issues with the government in general and where the military went. And I thought that was a pretty cool connection anyway.
That was well said as hell.
Thank you very much.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good for you.
I just watched this trailer like an hour ago. I'm pretty proud of myself about coming up with that. I'm going to have some more whiskey now.
Very good. All right, so any other general thoughts from you out of this?
You know me. The listeners might know me a little bit now. I'm a sucker for a good fucking song, and this had a good fucking song in it.
Old Man?
Yeah.
Neil Young.
Yeah, Neil Young. And I, at first I thought it was a little cheesy when I heard it, but then it just kept going.
I think the first song was cheesier for me.
The first song was cheesier.
Oh, God,
that's why when Neil Young came in...
Nachos as fuck. Yeah?
When Neil Young came in, I was kind of like, what? Like, this doesn't really mesh with the first song a whole lot. But then it just, like, it meshed way better with what the trailer was, like the tone of the trailer, I thought.
Yeah.
Than what was set up previously. So I was a sucker for that. I mean, like you said, it's kind of a little, like, it's kind of... I love what I just said about... the military.
I love my opinion on this.
I do. Not to
love my read on this, but
not to pat myself on the back too much here, Kevin. But I really liked that aspect of my read from it. It just was kind of just blah too. It was a little meh.
And I think a part of it is I don't know how much Steve Carell is like doing, and he is effectively the protagonist. And I think it is really illuminating to find out that this movie is based off of a book. And I'm sure you could probably get a lot from that book and from seeing and being able to get what's going on in that character's mind.
Sure.
And bear in mind, I could be saying this and the book could be written in third person and I could just be making an ass of myself right now. But at least the book gives you the potential to get like that guy's inner monologue.
Absolutely, yeah.
And... I think with that, as of right now, and again, granted, it's a trailer, and they're trying to sell a movie, and clearly Bryan Cranston being the more outgoing, hard-drinking, cigar-smoking guy is probably going to be, like, the thing that's like, oh, like, here's a... Like, look at this guy. Like, he seems like he's a character. I want to sit in a car with him.
Yeah.
But in doing that, we don't really get a lot of what effectively seems to be the protagonist of the story, which is a guy who is going to bury his son. Whether that happens at Arlington, whether that happens on his goddamn doorstep. Like, he's going to make sure that this happens. And I don't really know that much about him yet, other than the fact that he is upset he's upset for the pretenses in which his son was killed for.
Yep. And I would say we get enough in this trailer to also be able to say that he was questioning his relationship with his son.
Yeah.
Because he clearly was talking with one of his son's military brothers.
Yeah.
And
he said he had a great childhood.
Yeah, and that clearly like meant a lot to Steve Carell and kind of blindsided him. Yeah, I think that we know a little bit about that too. I don't really know much about...
I mean, I hope that that's belying something else happening. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because that could just effectively be kind of a stand-in for, he really loved you.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like that... Though the sentiment is conveyed in an interesting way, like he had a great childhood, which would mean Carell was a loving father and created not only had a great relationship with him, but also gave him the environment in which he felt like he was happy and safe.
Yeah.
And that's so much of being a parent. And that's the thing that terrifies parents.
And that's a validation that you don't get until like 20 years after the fact. At least
you check up on
years.
him at 18.
Yeah.
You give him the questionnaire. How did I do? You pray for a 4 out of 5.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man, you're in it for the long haul there. Yeah. But yeah, I overall, this is a need to see more for me. It's just There was just something missing. I don't know. It was very aloof, I guess, is a good way for me to describe the trailer for myself.
Sure. I would say I do think that there is an interesting setup here, and I think you articulated very well the thematic core that I think is meant to be the heart of the story. And I do think that that's interesting, and I think that's a great message.
It doesn't come across right away.
Not really,
Because,
no.
like I said, I watched the trailer for the first time, like a little more than an hour ago, and I just kind of am thinking about that now that we're talking about it. I didn't really think of that while watching the trailer. It doesn't really hit you.
For the characters themselves, like, Bryan Cranston, though he seems like, what a cool character, is definitely a character I feel like I've seen shades of pretty frequently. And
sure,
especially having the dichotomy of someone on the polar opposite end of that spectrum. In this case, it's a pastor.
Yeah,
is definitely a familiar dynamic.
Yeah, someone with a stick up his ass that needs like his old friend to like
kind of get him back to
mellow
where he
out
was.
a bit.
Yeah. Think the world of Richard Linklater as a filmmaker, as a writer, and so I'm not really willing to write it off. Approaching it from the standpoint of, if I didn't know who Richard Linklater was, and would I still want to see the movie, I would be on a very, very, very low need to see more.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Like, it just has the minimum where it's like, okay, I can sort of see something happening here. But, like, as of what I'm seeing in the trailer, there isn't really enough for me to, like, be even more than just, like, sort of intrigued at the moment.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
And so, and don't get me wrong, like, I really revere Linklater as a filmmaker. I'll probably end up seeing this at some point. I just don't know if it's going to happen in a theater.
Totally.
So,
yeah. Legit, man.
All right.
Look
at us, you know.
Fucking doing it.
There were trailers that we liked. There were trailers we thought were just okay. There was one you hated. And I think that's a pretty well-rounded night for us, wouldn't you say?
27. Woo! All right.
27,
Good 27,
man.
yeah.
Look at all those dresses that we just hung. Are we committing to that still? Or?
Why not? Because James Marsden's in that movie, and he's a fucking delight.
What a fucking delight that guy is. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Did you like the episode? Did you hate the episode?
Let us know.
Do you think we should drop this whole 27 dresses bit? Go ahead, write in trailerhitchmailbox@gmail.com. You can also hit us up on Twitter @trailerhitchpod. You can hit us up on Facebook. I don't know. You can probably just like roll in, just like drive around LA and just stick your head out of a car window and be like, tell me what you thought about the second Flatliners trailer. And at some point, just the laws of averages, if you do it long enough, you're bound to catch one of us.
That's right, yeah.
Either way, there's a lot of different ways to contact us. Please pick your poison and then send us your poison. But we sincerely hope that the poison is more so like sweets or gifts.
Yeah.
Like, you know, nice things.
Totally.
I mean, we'll take your vitriol, but, you know, we would prefer happy. But
also rate and subscribe on iTunes.
Yeah,
please.
do that. That's a big thing.
And comment maybe if you have something to say that you want the world to see.
Mm-hmm. It's on the internet, so it'll be burned forever.
That's right.
Yeah, so
right.
fucking stick by your guns.
But yeah, cool. That's all I have to say, Kevin.
All right, well, that's all I got to say too.
Let's fucking call it.
Yep. All right. So in about 2 weeks, you're going to hear from us. Maybe you'll hear us sooner if we end up watching a certain autopsy.
If we have time, we'll figure it out. We might slice and dice some time out of our week to do that.
But hey, 2 weeks at a minimum. At the very least, you'll see us then.
Damn right.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
You can't mount holy sails without a sailor stitch, and you can't haul your stuff without a trailer hitch. Trailer hitch.
God damn it. Okay, so 27 dresses, we have that. The 27 Club, we're shooting down.
27 Samurai?
No, that was just 7 Samurai.
If you watch it 20 times.
That's not how multiplication works. Apparently there's a Fall Out Boy song called 27.
27?
It's not off of, it's one of their later albums, so no one's going to know it.
No one gives
God
a shit.
Damn it.
27.
You know what? Let's just do us. Want to just do us?
Let's do us.
Let's just-
Okay,
let's just fucking
we're
do
gonna
us.
erase all this. Let's just do us.